All right, future doctors. If NEET 2026 is on your mind, you already know how huge this is. But, what does it really take to land that dream medical seat? Well, think of this as your personal roadmap. We're going to break down the whole thing so you know exactly what target you need to hit.
So let's just cut to the chase, right? The big question on everyone's mind. What rank do you actually need to get in? We're going to slice through all the confusion and give you some clear, number-based answers for every single major medical course available through NEET.
Okay, first things first, let's get a lay of the land. The NEET exam isn't just a single door to MBBS. Nope. It's more like a master key that unlocks a whole range of medical fields. You've got the big ones, of course, MBBS and BDS. Then you have the traditional Ayush courses, and let's not forget veterinary science, which is getting super popular. And yeah, we're going to cover the ranks you need for all of them.
But hold on, before we dive headfirst into the ranks and all those numbers, it's super important to get how the system itself works. I know, the whole counseling thing can feel like a giant maze, but trust me, once you get the logic, it's actually pretty straightforward. So let's break it down.
So here's the deal. Every single government medical seat in India is split into two big buckets. You've got the state quota, that's a huge 85% of the seats reserved for students from that particular state. Then there's the other 15%, which is the All India quota, or AIQ, and that's open to literally everyone, no matter where you're from. For today, we're going to be focusing only on that 15% All India quota.
Okay, so who actually runs the show? Who's in charge of this whole counseling process? Well, it actually depends on what course you're aiming for. If it's MBBS or BDS, you're looking at the MCC. If you're going for the AIUSH courses, that's the AACCC. And for veterinary, it's the VCI. Just knowing these names, it's going to make navigating the whole process way, way smoother.
All right, here we go. This is the part you've been waiting for. Let's crunch the numbers. We're about to look at the expected cutoff ranks for 2026, and we'll go through it one course at a time, using last year's data as our guide.
And of course, we have to start with the big one, MBBS. Look, the competition here is absolutely fierce, no two ways about it. For general and OBC students, last year's closing rank was just a little over 27,000. So, for 2026, you'll want to be aiming for a rank under 29,500 just to be on the safe side. Now yeah, the ranks are different for SC and ST candidates, but the big picture is the same. The competition is getting tougher for everyone across the board.
Okay, next up, let's talk about Bachelor of Dental Surgery, or BDS. This is another fantastic and, still very competitive path for anyone wanting to get into the medical field.
Now the ranks for BDS, they're a little more forgiving than for MBBS. If you're in the general, EWS, or OBC category, you can expect the closing rank to be somewhere around that 70 to 72,000 mark. But wait a second, look at last year's ranks. They were pretty high, right? So what's the deal with that?
Well, it really boils down to two things: how tough the exam was and how students played their cards. Last year, with all the uncertainty, a lot of students who just missed out on an MBBS seat decided, hey, I'm going to grab a BDS spot as a backup plan rather than drop a year. And that one strategic move by thousands of students is what pushed the cutoffs higher. It's a really important trend to watch.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the Ayush courses, the traditional Indian systems of medicine. And we'll kick things off with BAMS, which is the Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery.
For BAMS, here's a really simple rule of thumb to remember. If you're in the general, EWS, or OBC categories, you want to aim for a rank under 1 lakh. That's your magic number. Last year, the closing ranks were hanging around the 90,000 mark, so aiming for anything under 100,000 for 2026 is a really solid game plan.
All right, let's keep moving through the Ayush options. Next on the list is BHMS, or the Bachelor of Homeopathic Medicine and Surgery. Let's see what the numbers look like for this one.
With BHMS, you'll see the ranks go quite a bit further down. So a general category student could see the closing rank land somewhere around the 2 to 2.1 lakh mark. And that, opens up a whole other realistic path for a lot of students out there.
And that brings us to the last Ayush course we're looking at today. BUMS, the Bachelor of Unani Medicine and Surgery.
Now the numbers for BUMS are kind of interesting because they vary quite a bit. For a general category student, the target is going to be around the 1.5 lakh mark. You can see the ranges are pretty wide across the board here, and that just shows you how demand and the number of seats can be really different depending on where you are in the country.
Okay, and last but not least, we've got a course that has gotten super popular in the last few years, veterinary science.
And just a quick reminder, the counseling for this one isn't with the others. It's handled by the Veterinary Council of India, the VCI.
And yeah, looking at these numbers, you can really see just how popular it's become. A general category student is probably going to need a rank somewhere between 75,000 and 80,000. I mean, think about it. That's even more competitive than some of the AUI Hughes courses we just looked at. It really tells you how much people value this field now.
So there you have it. We've gone through the data, we've mapped out all the possible destinations, but you know what? Knowing where you want to go is only half the battle. The most important part is how you're actually going to get there. So let's talk about your strategy, your path to success.
Look, success in this exam really comes down to 4 things, 4 pillars. First, revise, 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 relentlessly. Now's the time to give it everything you've got. Second, you have to do mock tests every single day. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. It's not just about practice, it's about building that exam day stamina. Third, you gotta analyze your performance. Don't just take a test and forget about it. Dive deep, find your weak spots in physics, chem, bio, and fix them. And the fourth pillar, which is so important, is your health. Getting 6 to 7 hours of sleep and eating right, that's not a luxury, it's the fuel that's gonna power your brain.
You know, especially as you get closer to the exam, it is so easy to get distracted by all the noise out there. My advice, just tune it out. Don't get tangled up in rumors or news that doesn't help you study. Right now, the most powerful thing you have is your own belief in the hard work you've put in. Just trust that process. You've got this. You will do well.
Because at the end of the day, all these numbers we talked about, all these ranks, they're just a guide. They're a map. They can show you the path for sure. But it's you. It's your hard work, your effort. That's what truly defines the journey.
So, we've laid it all out on the table for you. The system, the ranks, the strategy. Now, the real question, the only one that really matters, is the one you have to answer for yourself. What will you build from here? All the very